Robert Frost once wrote that you ought to get all the winter you can out of winter. Day like today, with the wind blowing and the temperature headed down into the minus, you got to wonder whether he lost his mind. But at least, you know, he wrote it indoors. Because we're going to take a little overnight camping trip today, and I do hope you'll join us. Welcome to Windows to the Wild. I'm Willem Lange, and I'm standing today at the foot of Mount Ascutney in Ascutney State Park near Windsor, Vermont. And we're about to walk in a couple of miles to a lean-to and spend the night out in the cold, which is getting more intense with every minute. And I'm today with my old pal, Scott Ellis.
Hey, Will, how you doing?
With whom I climbed Spruce Mountain
Spruce Mountain,
year,
about this time last year, yeah.
And with whom I did not go down the Allagash last summer.
No, you missed out on that one.
I'm sorry about that. Had to do it. Well, okay, what are we doing today?
We got an adventure in store today.
Never mind the adventure.
Good one.
What are we doing?
It's going to be a pretty steep hike, about 2 miles up to a little lean-to up there where there's
Yeah.
a little wood stove and got a wall of snow to block it in, and we're going to camp out for the night. You think you're ready for that?
Get out of here. Of course I'm ready for that.
I think it's going to be a great time.
Okay, good. We're off then, just a couple of miles.
Yep.
You're
couple
sure?
Miles. Yep, about
Okay,
2 miles.
good. We're going to get going then. We'll see you up there, or on the way. Scott and I met a couple of years ago at a wilderness canoeing event. He and a buddy, Austin Borg, make outdoor adventure films and post them online. Their message is, get outdoors and enjoy nature. We'll meet Austin a bit farther up the trail. Ascutney State Park is located on the eastern edge of West Windsor Town Forest, not far from I-91. We're on the Windsor Trail here, and I think we'll end up about a half-mile from the summit. I've never been to the shelter where we'll be camping, but Scott assures me it'll be cozy. I've done a lot of snowshoeing. In conditions like this, it's probably easier than hiking. But we're carrying more stuff than we would be in summer.
There it is.
Voila. Either these things are getting smaller or my head is getting bigger. All right, so this is point 8. We've come in about an hour and 10 minutes.
Good old Jerry's Falls. Doesn't seem to be falling much right now. Pretty frozen up.
We're not exactly setting the trail on fire here.
No. 0.8 in an hour, flying, and get ready for the trail to get a little bit steeper. And your turn to take the sled.
I will take it that way.
You'll take it down. You'll sit in it and go down in it.
I did that once with a dead deer, frozen solid, just like this.
Yeah.
I couldn't drag that deer because its legs kept hitting the trees, you know. I turned it up on its back, held worse than this, and rode it down just like a sled. I hated to do it to it, but we both needed to get out.
Yeah.
The northern peak of Mount Ascutney is a bit more than 3,100 feet high. In warmer weather, it's one of the best places in the east for hang gliders to launch. The shelter we're headed for is open to the public for overnight camping. Probably won't be much competition for its use tonight.
Woodpeckers made a good home out of this guy.
Reminds me of an old Inuit saying by the great Angakuk Ijugajuk, who said, all wisdom is to be gained through suffering. I think we're getting pretty smart today.
Hey, Ozzy!
Austin catches us before we reach the shelter. This winter, he's already spent nearly 70 days camping outdoors. A buddy, Austin Borg here, caught up with us about the 1.5 mile mark, thereabouts, about the mile mark, somewhere down there. Is obviously fitter than I am. So he's gone on ahead. It's awful good to have you. Austin is a end-to-ender on the Appalachian Trail. How many years ago?
2008.
2008. God, that's a while ago now.
It is.
Almost 7 years. But he still walks as if he's on the AT, doing 30-mile days.
Not quite.
Yeah. Well, you get me to this shelter, I will thank you very much. I got to thaw out my bandana. The pulp that Scott's hauling is a godsend. Otherwise, we'd have another 60 pounds or more on our backs.
We can get this sled. You make it?
No, the people who make the tour pulp out in Minnesota sent it to me back in '85 for the Alaska Marathon.
Really?
And it arrived the day after I left for Alaska, so I never used it there, but that was 30 years ago. After a while, I wasn't using it anymore. I sold it to a buddy of mine. He won't sell it back, but he'll lend it any time. As long as I don't wreck it.
Talk me through it. I can't see it. Good? All right. Blow down. That's how you get over a blowdown right there. I wasn't there last week.
Even in the cold temperature, I'm sweating. This is a pretty good climb. This the one we've been looking for? We got it. I'm going to crash right here at the end.
Even when you're like working really hard, going up that hill, you're like, what? Why am I doing this? But then when you finally get there, that accomplishment feels really good. It makes you feel alive.
No, it didn't feel all that great.
Yeah, you felt pretty good when you got here. I saw the look in your
because
eye.
it wasn't any farther. And don't tell me it was the journey that we not got the goal. It was the goal in this case, not the journey.
Journey wasn't too bad. It was good.
Well, a couple of those spots there, I looked down, my feet weren't advancing.
Yes, same.
One step forward, half step back. You were complaining back then too. You didn't even know what it was coming to.
Who?
You.
When?
The first part, the easy part, the beginning.
I said, yeah, but it's because I was expecting that it would approximate your description.
Which was pretty easy.
Are you kidding me? God, you and Austin in the video you showed me.
Yeah.
You're going through the woods laughing and joking, and dogs are running in circles around you. Well, that's good. We'll do that. Holy Toledo. If I'd known, I'd have brought a climbing rope. You're in the wrong business, Scott. You've got to be selling junk to stupid people.
Instead of selling you on mountains to climb.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I should point out to the camera that we are recording this moment.
Okay.
We're at the lean-to. Just in case none of us survives the night, we presume that the chip in the camera will, and people will know that we made it.
We made it. We
Unlike
survived.
Mallory and Irvin.
Yeah.
There'll be evidence, right?
We made it to the lean-to. We didn't make it to the summit.
So much from it. This was enough. If I may offer some advice about winter camping, it's to prepare properly. Know the area where you're going and leave that information with somebody back home. Check the weather forecast. We did, so we're traveling with several layers of warm duds, good boots, hats, mittens, and extra mittens. If we can find decent firewood, always a potential problem near an old lean-to, we'll have a fire for cooking and warmth. Scott dragged a small wood stove to the shelter earlier this week. Should still be there. We're each carrying water bottles, and Scott's got a package of freeze-dried stew and a can of my favorite Spam to add to it.
Right now, temperature is around 20 degrees.
It's cold in there.
Yeah, I think it's colder. This was in my pocket on the way up. So.
I got one out in my bag.
You got one in your bag? We should hang it here, make it the official reference point.
Yeah, a little under 15 degrees. Hey, a little layering up and a weird hat and You feel great, right?
So it's a little cold today. I think I'd like to have a nice little fire to warm my hands up. So beautiful little wood stove I brought up here to go in here. That's going to conserve a lot more wood. And we got birch bark and we got some dry little twigs. And that's all we really need in life to get this thing going. So we got a cool little fire starting device right here. It's not a lighter, but it's a steel that makes sparks. So I'm going to try using that to start our little fire with today. And if you take some birch bark and you just scrape it up,
The old birch bark play, huh?
the old birch bark trick. And then take this guy and well, we might get another try at that. There's a little bit of flame. And we have fire.
Yeah. That's a heavy little stove.
Yeah.
No wonder you guys were struggling. You guys did some carving here last week.
Little shelf, yeah.
Very nice.
That's pretty good.
Looks like an igloo almost inside. I cannot express adequately my disgust at the difference between Scott's description and the reality of this trail. You should sell used cars.
You want a Snickers? I'll make it up to you.
I will eat that just before I go to sleep tonight.
All right.
Really, that's
Yeah.
when you. Thank you.
Well, you're glad you're here now?
No. Well, that the pain is over. You just run out of steam. You know, you look at the hill and you think, okay. But then you stand, walk in place 4 or 5 steps, and they think, come on. Forward, drive.
Well, my main concern is wood. Keep this wood stove going all night.
Yeah.
Keep us nice and warm.
While I hold down the fort, Scott and Austin collect tonight's source of heat.
Ready?
Yeah. Let's just go slow because I'm going to post sole here. Walking on trees right now.
How'd you guys meet up?
I first saw the Appalachian Trail
Tattoo on my leg, yeah.
and he was like, yeah, it's the Appalachian Trail, and I was like, I know, I just hiked it. And that was an instant bond.
Oh,
And then we just started, playing outdoors.
Yeah, we both like being outside.
yeah. Yep.
Similar passions.
Yep.
And he was working at a camp, and I was helping out at the camp. And you stayed there before, too. It's a good camp. And so,
Oh, yeah, it's lovely. I love it.
yeah, from there, became good buddies.
The wind makes it feel much colder than 20 degrees, and the clearing skies mean it'll probably be below zero by morning. We camped one time near an airport where they were supposed to come pick us up the next day, and a little Inuit village across the way, and this wolf came around camp, kind of like that, and Dudley's been on here for years and I said, Dudley, is that a wolf or a sled dog? He said, that's definitely a sled dog. Okay, so we're cool. Then a couple of Inuit came over afterward, and they said, there's a sick wolf hanging around. If he comes over here, don't let him come near you because he could have something bad. About 11:45 that night, I was lying in my tent. God, I got an awful cramp. I shouldn't tell you where, but it's called Proctalgia fugax.
So you just told me where.
Fugax means fleeting, but it didn't seem fleeting at the time. I thought, oh, God, this is ghastly. I got to get up and go outside. And I sat up. And about as far away, about the foot of the tent, is this wolf looking in the door. Cramp went away for about 20 seconds. I forgot all about it. And the wolf walked away. So I still got to go out. So I went out there, and I was standing on the hillside, and I kept rotating. And it seemed that every place I rotated, I could see a pair of ears sticking up, you know. That wolf was going like that in circles around me.
Watching you, yeah.
Oh, that was not a good night. Proctalgia fugax. May you get it someday. Let me know if you do.
It's warmer in here than it is out there.
The smoking chimney is a good sign. It means a bit of warmth and possibly supper.
I think we should start getting supper ready.
Chicken and spam, wasn't that it?
Beef stew, some
Beef
spam.
stew.
Beef stew. Is there any beef in it?
There's beef flavor in it.
Oh, this is the instant, like...
No, it's like it cooks a little bit. You gotta cook it.
Scotty,
It's like a dried soup, and then you add good stuff to it.
Pretty sure beef stew incorporates actual beef
Yeah.
into the stew. That's what makes the stew. Not a can of chicken and a can of spam. That's like redneck stew.
Yeah.
I've been asked to make a comment on the food. It is, what do you would call this? Stew Ellis, right?
You call it Ellis stew, yeah?
Yeah, you mixed it with dried beef, right? Freeze-dried beef
dried soup.
and canned spam. I see some peas in there, some green beans.
Yep.
It's kind of and you threw in a thing of mashed potatoes.
Throw it all in there. Mashed potatoes, couscous.
It's quite good. It's couscous, that's right. So this is just a thing to send us off to bed with. A warm pot of stew. Scott packed in the candles. Don't they give the place a cozy, romantic feel, though? Well, here we are in our cozy little cabin up on Mount Scottney. It's apparently warmer in here than it is outside, but our snowbanks inside haven't melted an inch. They're still solid glacier ice.
I think we're hovering right around freezing at 0 Celsius. Is about
it's cold enough in here. We're probably not going to have a garden party in our shorts tonight, but we're here anyway, and I'm in great company. Scott and Austin have their own little movie company, right?
Well, you could call it that. We make YouTube videos.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a movie company, but it's a good hobby to have. It's a hobby, I think. Yeah.
The name of it is what we Guide You Outdoors.
Guide You Outdoors.
Guide You Outdoors, and it's on the website. You have a website.
Yeah, the website leads you right to the YouTube page, basically, and we're going to guide you to the outdoors with our videos, is the whole idea.
Yeah.
We want to inspire others to get outside and do things like this, you know, disconnect and experience.
Wait a minute, you want to
nature.
inspire people to do stuff like this?
Well, maybe, you know, I think more people right now would be watching this and being like next to their wood stove and be like, yeah, I could see myself maybe doing that, but I'll stick right next to the wood stove.
Don't do it.
Do it. That's what
I'd
we're
like
saying.
to
Do it.
teach the world to freeze in perfect harmony.
There's so many great lessons to learn from it, though. I think that's the idea.
Yeah.
You're well aware of trail magic,
Yeah.
where you, you know,
do nice
give
things for
some,
people,
yeah, give some through hikers some food or beer or what have you. So Scotty and I have done that regularly, and we interview the through hikers once we butter them up for a series called Trail Tales. But we got kind of bored, so we decided to mess with them a little, and we took some Long Trail beer and some Snickers, and we strung them up on fishing wire, just out of reach. So, and with a sign on the ground that said "Look up." So they came around, and it was pouring rain. I was in a tube tent that with a bunch of, you know,
Like hidden, like he
shrubbery on
was
it.
like a hunter in a blind or something. Yeah.
And
You were videoing this.
We were hunting through hikers.
What a couple of sneaks you are.
it was a great time.
Couldn't they get it with their poles?
No, they didn't. They just looked at it for a while, and then they're like, we'll get out of here.
It was funny because the first through hiker, we put some candy on the ground just so they'd look down, and the first through hiker ate all the candy, and like you could see he was rushing, and we didn't know why, and then we saw
People lying, I
Yeah,
guess.
no, the people were coming.
and he was like, there was like a piece of candy, but I ate it. And then we jumped out and gave him actual trail magic.
Oh, isn't that nice?
It shows some of the diversity of videos that we're making. It's either hiking or trail magic or paddling, or might be something about a piece of equipment, but just general things that inspire people to get outside and also have a good time doing it. Kind of like this show right here. You got to get outside and have a good time doing it.
You'll have the fire going all night, so it'll be toasty in here in the morning, right?
I hope so. Yeah. Morning's going to be the coldest bit.
Getting out of that sleeping bag's always the hardest part.
Yeah. That stove, by the way, has been another disappointment to me, I thought, from your description.
It would do a little better.
We were going to be taking a sauna in there.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the heat's going out in the chimney, I think.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. We're happy. Got to get down this mountain tomorrow.
That'll be easy. That will be easy. You want to sit in the sled? Just go for a ride.
That's the thought. That's the thought. We don't want to break that sled, though.
No, that looks like a nice sled. All right.
Shall we?
Yeah, I'm going to get up.
Buenas noches. I strip down to one thin layer, stick my boots inside my sleeping bag, and put on a chook for the night. The bag I brought along is good to minus 20 degrees. Gets any colder than that, it'll be time to reconfigure the sleeping arrangements. All right. Well, it's bedtime here on Mount Ascutney. Quite cold, but quite warm inside this bag, which I find is made for a smaller person than I, but that's okay, it'll work. I bid you all a fond and affectionate good night. Good night, Gracie. Good night, George. It's a little past 6:30 in the morning. It's a nice, cool morning here in the Green Mountains, and I'm having a cup of hot coffee courtesy of our host, Mr. Ellis, who has a little coffee press with him. And I suspect we're going to have a little breakfast shortly. Yes. Yeah, can't wait. It's just a lovely spot. I wish you could be with us instead of me.
Nothing like a good cup of coffee to just brighten your spirits on a cold morning. Say it's a nice thing to be outside today. I slept amazing last night. Austin let me borrow his negative 20 degrees sleeping bag. And that is a beauty right there. I was sweating in the middle of the night. I was like, this is the warmest sleeping bag I've ever been in.
I was not sweating in my 0 degree.
Well, thank you for sharing that thing with me then. That was nice.
Slept like a log. Well, like a log in a river. Flip, flop, flip, flop. But it was nice. The bag was warm, and I was comfortable at least. It was a long night, about 11 hours, but it was very nice.
Finding one that does face south.
So finding a south-facing shelter for next time. Yeah. So you can get some sunshine.
And one with a wood stove in it maybe already.
Yeah.
The thing was a little small.
We have survived the night beautifully. We had a little cup of coffee, a little tea, all is well with you guys.
Yeah. Feel good.
You're good, all right. Yeah, thanks for the coffee. That was very, very nice. I guess we're going to do our hair-raising descent now, right?
Yeah, this will be the easy part, right?
Well, maybe. That sled may be pushing you a little bit on the steep stretches.
Brakes will be on.
I'm looking forward to it.
Because you don't have the sled.
That's right. Okay, so we should go, and we should say goodbye to you all. We hope to see you again on Windows to the Wild. Support for the production of Windows to the Wild has been provided by